Hey, it's me, NT, and welcome to my final walkthrough for Act 2 of Hollow Knight's Silksong, covering Lace and Grandmother Silk. I'll show you where the boss is, how to prepare for it, and break down the techniques needed to defeat them, as well as sharing a hint about how to enter Act 3. Here's the location of Lace and the bench you'll start from. For this fight, I recommend the Wanderer's Crest with the Tax. For blue tools, I recommend the Fractured Mask, Weave Light, and Multibinder. And for yellow tools, I recommend the Compass, Weighted Belt, Ascendance Grip, and Magnetite Brooch. If you've been following my boss walkthroughs, we finished all the optional bosses in Act 2 and are back on the critical path. Since optional bosses are always harder than the main bosses, that means we only have 2 fights left. And if you've been exploring and upgrading like I have, they'll be even easier. At this point in the game, you can level your needle up to level 3, and you can acquire a total of 8 masks and 8 spools. If you fought Lace in Deep Docks, then this fight should seem pretty familiar to you. She's a little faster, and some of her attacks have more hits, but at least her health pool didn't get too much bigger. Just like the first time you fight Lace, the move you need to watch out the most for is her diagonal upwards attack. You want to be in the air about half of the time when fighting Lace, since most of her attacks are ground-based, but keep an eye out for this telegraph and air dash away when you see it. In a pinch, you can pogo a parry off of it, but you'll probably still take damage because Lace's attack strikes multiple times, plus you'll suffer contact damage if she rams into you. Note that Lace also likes to immediately transition into a dive attack from this move, so if you've air dashed away from the aerial strike, you'll still have to dodge her on the way down. When Lace is in this stage, she's about to lunge across the ground. As before, this move has a surprising amount of range, but it's easy to avoid if you're staying in the air. Lace's main attack is 2 to 3 swipes which carry her forward. Pogo off of her, or nail her in the back when she whiffs. If you strike Lace while she's blocking, you'll trigger her counter. Now, Lace can choose to counterattack forward like last time we fought her, or she can teleport above you and do an anti-aerial counterattack. If you hear the ting of her block, ground dash away to avoid both of them. Your goal is to keep popping Lace with single hits every time she whiffs or during the delay before her attacks. Dash strikes and air dash strikes are excellent, but don't run into her or you'll take contact damage. Whenever Lace does a phase change is an excellent time to punish her. This is one time I would suggest getting greedy with your strikes. Starting phase 2 is also a good time to start tossing tacks, one on either side of the arena. In phase 2, Lace gets a little faster, and her diagonal upwards attack leaves circles where a swipe will strike about 2 seconds later. She'll also start using that attack more often, and will use it just to set up a dive attack at you. A short time later, you should have dealt enough damage to get Lace in phase 3, where she'll start doing her multi-strike area attack in the air, and she'll do 2 of them back to back. The damage radius is marked by a circle, similar to Phantom's attack, but unlike Phantom, you can counterattack Lace before and after each of her attacks, as long as you stay out of the circle. If she does get you boxed in, remember that running into Lace only takes 1 mask and will give you enough invincibility to escape the radius of this attack. Looks like I defeated Lace by ramming my head into her, but a win's a win. I was surprised at how quickly the fight with Lace ended. I'm not sure how clear that was in the previous section because I kept pausing and talking, So here's that fight again without commentary. Here's the location of Grandmother Silk and the bench you'll start from. For this fight, I also recommend the Wanderer's Crest, but with the conch cutters. For blue tools, I recommend the Fractured Mask, the Weave Light, and the Sawtooth Circlet. You can buy the Sawtooth Circlet from the 12th Architect, and it lets you do an extra attack when you double jump or float. And for yellow tools, I recommend the Compass, Weighted Belt, Ascendant's Grip, and Magnetite Brooch. Grandmother Silk hits hard and fast, but Team Cherry knew you'll have to fight this boss multiple times if you want to see all the endings, so thankfully she doesn't have as much health as a true final boss. And we're going to take advantage of the Sawtooth Circlet and the Wanderer's Crest to take her down a little faster. Basically, whenever you go in for an attack on Grandmother Silk, you want to swing your needle and double jump at the same time. This will give us 2 hits for the price of 1, which means she goes down twice as fast. But don't be clever and add in a float for a 3rd attack, because you'll need to hit the ground quickly to reset and to dodge her attacks. Similar to First Sinner, Grandmother Silk attacks with needles that shoot vertically and horizontally. There's no aiming thread for these, but they're so big you can even see them partially off screen. Make sure to air dash through the gap in the horizontal needles, and don't let them hit you, because they deal 2 masks of damage. This ought to be an ultimate attack, but Grandmother Silk will freely set a bunch of crisscrossing threads that fill the arena. Make sure to float in between the threads, because a moment later they'll activate and ensnare you if you're touching them. While you're helpless, Grandmother Silk will wail on you for a whopping 3 damage, the highest I've seen in this game from a single attack. As you can see, I got caught in this attack more than once, proving it isn't the end of the world as long as you keep healed up. If she shouts, she's about to fire sets of needles in quick succession. When you see Grandmother Silk throw her arm in the air like she just don't care, she's about to do a ground level charge attack, followed by horizontal falling needles. Jump in the air dash over the attack, and slot yourself between the needles. This isn't an anticlimax, but it is a chance to heal up before Grandmother Silk gets serious. Whenever you see a wide swath of 5 or 6 threads like this, she's about to pull down a whole mess of rocks. don't touch this column, or the pair of columns she then summons on the left and right side, or any others during the next phase. Consider them a temporary shrinking of the arena, a no-go zone. Now that phase 2 has begun, you want to start using your conch cutters, but only fire them point blank so they don't bounce off her needles. Now you want to double jump, needle strike, and conch cutter at the same time when you're attacking. If you only see a set of 2 threads, she's about to pull spikes up from the ground. This is both an attack and a temporary arena hazard to be avoided. She also has a new needle attack where both sets will fire horizontally, but there will still be a clear space so you can slot yourself in and air dash or float. Pay careful attention to where they move to so you can get a feel of where you need to be, even if they're off screen. Now, when she does her silken snare attack, she'll set 2 sets of threads. Trigger the first one, then trigger the second. But they don't last as long as the single attack, so just do your best to stay in the clear areas. Once you defeat Grandmother Silk, you'll have a choice to bind or needle in her. If this is your first attempt, bind her, watch the ending, and when you reload your save, you can fight her again and try the other option to go into Act 3. If you don't have the needle in option, you'll need to complete the Silk and Soul wish from the leader of Songclave. If that wish isn't available, you probably need to complete the wish boards in Bone Bottom, Bellheart, and Songclave, as well as moving the flea caravan to the Putrefied Ducks. Like with Lace, that fight went surprisingly quickly, so here's the clean version of it. I hope this video helped you out, or at least gave you an interesting look at some of the bosses. The darkness is spreading, and it looks like it wants to infect everything in Act 3. I'm sure the bosses will only get harder from here, so if you want my take on the best ways to defeat them, would you please subscribe and turn notifications on? And if you found this video super helpful and you want to support me, there's a Ko-Fi link in the description. Anyway, that's it for me this evening. I hope you're still enjoying Silksong, and bye!